Hmm.
Hello, friends. You're welcome to the Wise Builders and My Godly Spouse online weekly platform. My name is Reverend Dolapo Agoradeni. I'm a pastor, I'm a lawyer, and I'm a relationship coach. Is there anything bothering you? Life comes with some challenges sometimes. If you want to rub minds or you want confidential advice, are you single? Do you want to marry? Do you want me to vet your relationship for you? Don't fall a victim. You know, where children of God are, the children of the other side are as well. So, if you know you want to do things right or you've made a mistake and you want counseling, sometimes quitting is not the best way forward. You need to fight it out in a very godly way. You need a godly counsel. So speak to me after the show. My numbers are on the platform and how you contact me. Thank you very much. Looking forward to see you. Sit back, enjoy this show. It comes weekly on Wednesdays, and I trust you will not regret your time. God bless you all. Thank you.
For some other people. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening to you. Good to see you again. You're welcome to the Wise Builders. And my name is Reverend Dolly, or otherwise called Dolapo Agro Adeniyi. Good to have you. Good to have you. God bless you. Just let's wait for 1 minute more for people to come online. Just getting our Instagram family on board. God bless you. Good to see you. Thank you so much, everyone. It's nice to have you, and I trust that you had a wonderful day today. Blessings to you and your family. I'm just going to read out tonight. We have a very interesting topic, which is a life scenario that we are going to discuss. And I'm just sharing 1 second, sharing on some of my other platforms. God bless you. Just stay tuned in a minute and then we get going. God bless you. I see you. I sight you. As many of us online, I sight you. God bless you. It's good to see you. I'm going to reach the scenario in a minute. God bless you all. God bless you. 1 second. I'm just sharing. Beg your pardon. Beg your pardon. Wow. Absolutely good. Lovely, jubbly. Thank you so much. One more time, good evening. And I'm Dolapo Agoradeni, presenting the Wise Builders every Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m. UK time. It's lovely to see you, and I hope you're going to enjoy tonight. So we have a live scenario that I'm going to read out to you. To be honest with you, I think at some point this issue keeps coming up, but it's I was thinking about it earlier on today, and I just thought it seems a very easy one, But until you are in a situation, you don't know what people that are going through it are experiencing. So I'm going to read the life scenario to you, and I want you to contribute. Just say what you feel about it, and we'll take it from there. So this couple, they had their traditional wedding marriage couple of years ago. Unfortunately, the marriage broke down, and both of them moved on. He went into another relationship that didn't work out. She got engaged to another man and gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. The first husband, as in the first husband, wants the woman back. He still wants her. He claims she's still his wife and the twins should belong to him. She's saying that there's no legal contract binding them together. So one of the things we want to find out is, the question is she still his wife? What are the implications of a traditional marriage? Which marriage is valid? You see, these questions keep coming up, keeps popping up now and again. And I just think once and for all, we need to trash it and get to the end of it. The Lord will help us tonight in Jesus' name. So basically, this couple, they were married in a traditional way. Usually people from Africa, I think from BAME community, Black and ethnic minorities will fall in this category. Some other cultures do it as well, but I'm very sure of those in the BAME community. And what happens is, I'm going to talk about a traditional marriage is a traditional rights involving two families, whereby you openly within the family or families declare your intention, and your families will come round and then they will show their intention that they want to marry your daughter or your son, and after that they will take it from there. So it's difficult because it is a marriage as well, but the way some people see it, it's not a marriage. So this couple had their traditional marriage couple of years ago, as in the parents agreed, rights were done, dowries were paid, and they settled. Unfortunately, they didn't have children. The marriage lasted a couple of years, but not up to 5 years. I think about 3 years. And there was no children within the marriage, and the relationship broke down. Whatever happened, it broke down. The most important thing is irretrievably, they could not retrieve it. Things didn't work out and everybody went their ways. So after the marriage, the man moved on, the woman moved on. The man got married to another person, maybe in a traditional setting as well. Dowries were paid. And then, unfortunately, or he got engaged, but nothing too serious as well. Unfortunately, his second marriage didn't work out. Fortunately for this madam, she hooked up with a guy and things worked out for them, and she gave birth to a child. So she has not done any formal rights or legal rights. So she's not done traditional marriage. So she hooked up with this guy. They got engaged, gave themselves rings, whether in their parlor or wherever, and then she eventually gave birth to twins. You know, God is wonderful how he blesses us sometimes. So a boy and a girl. So this guy, the first man, the first guy, the first husband, got wind of the fact that his ex-wife is now married to somebody, and now, because they couldn't have children, now she's got twins. So he's laying claim that she's still his wife because they were married under the traditional or customary law of the land, and that the dowries were paid. So any man that takes her in as his wife is still taking his wife. So he wants the children, and they're saying under their culture, which is, you know, cultural things are very deep. They're under their culture that she's still his wife, despite the fact that until that the dowries are paid or returned to his family, he's laying claim to those twins and to his wife. So, and the wife is saying she's no longer his wife, that they've ended the marriage and she's moved on, you know. So what we're trying to discuss tonight is, what are the implications of traditional marriage and which marriage is valid. I welcome every one of you. Pastor Deepo, bless you. I cite you on Instagram. Bless you, Pastor Yesterday Knowledge Pool. Bless you on Facebook. As many of you on Facebook, bless you. I salute everyone. God bless us. So I just want to talk generally about marriage, and we're going to talk about marriage rights. We're going to talk about the importance of marriage and which of these marriages is deemed to be the legal. I know most of us just think it's the court marriage, but where are we putting God? Where are we putting custom? You know, there's a lot of things that makes you. I've seen people nowadays, and that is very paramount now. Somebody will just get up from their marriage and say, it's no longer working, carry a bag and go. Especially when it's traditional marriage or marriage blessing. And then you hear that, after all, we're not married. I corrected somebody just few days ago. We were just talking, and he was saying, the particular person we're talking about, that after all, they're not married. They just had children. And I went, did they do anything? He said, it's only traditional marriage. I said, they are married. He said, no, actually, he said he's never been married. What about the traditional marriage? What do you think you're doing when you're doing traditional marriage? It's no child's play. But people just think with that we can wave it off. Traditional marriage is marriage, and is equally as important as all this other marriage. But which one of them stands in this situation? How do we go about it? So I'll just give you an overview of a lot of things so that you have better understanding, and then we go down to the most important decision, that is she still his wife? What can be done? And for some of us that still kind of living loose ends, it will be a good thing. When we bring this life scenario, we are not ridiculing them. They want to learn from it. But to be honest with you, to some of us, it's eye openers, and it's something for us to start thinking about, to understand that, you know, if we have not done things right, things can really get really complicated. So legal rights as a partner, your legal right depends on whether you are married or you're living together. Even if you're living together means cohabitation. I'll go into it in a minute. You know, even that, you can sometimes, you know, make it right, kind of make it valid. So validate yourself or validate your marriage or relationship. Don't leave yourself open. For situation like this, for more complicated situation, when it comes to inheritance rights, when it comes to, God forbid, Facebook, back on Facebook, my internet is a little bit fluctuating tonight, so bear with me. But on Instagram, we're cool. So living together, like I said, is called cohabitation as well. So you hear couples say, they are cohabiting. So whether you like it or not, you know, when you are together and living together like that is also called common law marriages. We know, especially after you've lived together for over 2 years, you are assumed under common law that you are husband and wife or partners, you know. So it's another way of saying that couples are living together. So we see it nowadays, especially some of us are migrated, and because of status or different things, you know, we are not able to, or we've not been able to go to the court or make ourselves legal, make the marriage, you know, go under, you know, it's called marriage under the act, you know, which we always call registry. Because of that fact, we are reluctant nowadays. So, but let me just quickly point this as we go on. You can formalize your living together arrangement, please. You can actually, don't leave yourself vulnerable. You can, you know, do it, especially when you are living together. So don't let the man or the woman deceive you. You can do something, do a contract. It's called contract of living together agreement, you know, and that way you can do an agreement. If you go to a family lawyer or family solicitor, they should be able to do it. So the agreement outlines your living arrangement, who is paying the mortgage, if you have rights, if you your plans generally. So it's always good. Let's assume the guy is saying to you, okay, my status is not ready, your status is not ready, but you've come together just to protect yourself in case of all these brouhaha, you know, things like that, things just goes wrong. You can actually make a contract. It's called living together arrangement, you know, contract, and you'll be sorted out. It's also called declaration of trust. So if you get to a solicitor, family law solicitor, to do a declaration of trust for you, and all the things is going to be enshrined into it one by one, to say this is our living arrangement. So you are covered. So it doesn't give you that marriage validity, but it gives you some credibility in the eyes of the law. You have a contract in case anything happens. So you can choose as we go on. Please drop your comments. That's the way we roll on the Wise Builder. Wave, say hello, drop your comments, and then I'll flag it, or your questions as we go on. Please, I'm here to answer your questions on this. We're still going to the life scenario and how it affects all of us. So you can choose. I'll say there are basically three types of marriages, which is the civil one, the religious one, or the traditional marriage. So you can choose either one. And can I just say at this time that all these three marriages matters. Before, you see, we are fast declining, or I don't know how to say, we are fast abusing this marriage institution by choosing and picking the ones that we think, yes, in the eyes of the law, when you are talking about the legality or validity of the marriage, the one that, you can show evidence of, before the law courts, when it comes to inheritance or divorce and this and, those things, yeah, that's you need the marriage under the act, the one you do in the registry, or otherwise some people call it court marriage. Let me just use that, the court marriage, the one we all know we call court marriage. You need that. But should, in case that you don't have, and in the eyes of God, there's no joking with marriage. A coming together of a man and a woman, living together as husband and wife, or sleeping with yourself, or whatever you want to say, in the eyes of God, you are married. Now, all these other three arrangements is for our own gain. Somebody asked me, which I'm going to say, I don't want to jump to my conclusion at the beginning, so I'll just take us there. So, to have the proof of your marriage itself, is a marriage certificate. We all know that. It's issued in any country and is valid, even if it is in Zimbabwe or in Nigeria or Angola or in Asia or Pakistan, anywhere. As long as a court issues a certificate, is binding anywhere in the whole world. So that is it. But now, so that is marriage under the act. That's so simple. I won't spend so much time on it. It's called marriage. We all know it. You drag yourself to the registry, you give notices, you make declaration, then your witness comes there. It doesn't have to involve a lot of people. It just involves the registrar, both of you, and two witnesses, and that is it. You're done. You're married. And with that certificate, you're good to go anytime. So we won't really spend much time on that, because that is not the bone of contention. If with that, things are easier. The one that's really, really important and disturbing is this issue of traditional marriage. So for the sake of those that are not from Africa or where they do traditional marriage, I'll just touch base on it. So it's a wedding that's been conducted in accordance with the custom of the bride and groom's families. That is what is called traditional marriage or customary marriage. And under those country, or in those country, there's the law, there's the customary law. And we have, especially, for example, I'll speak for Nigeria, we have the customary law and the customary law courts. And then you can actually register your traditional marriage as well in the customary court. Most people don't know that. So after a day, after you do your marriage, or any day from the date you're married, you do your custom. The way they do customary marriage is the family, the spouses, the groom's spouse will take some things. Prior to that time, they will have sent a representative to the bride's family. It depends, like I said, about their culture. For example, in Nigeria, the Igbo culture is different from the Yoruba culture. So you need to go to the family, and it's done according to the culture of that land. So, for example, in Nigeria and Yoruba family, they will have sent somebody to the bride's family to say, we want to marry her, and they will give you a list, and they will pick a date. The two families will meet. So they will do a list. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be in the citro, but it has to involve consent from both families. Your families has to be present. If the parents are alive, they have to be. If not, the representative of the parents has to be there. Nowadays, they do it in proxy. You may not be there, like, for example, if you're in America or UK, you may not be there. Your pictures will be there, but your families are represented, and it's binding upon you. It's a marriage on its own. So This is called traditional or customary marriage. But as I was saying earlier on, you can actually register this marriage. For the sake of some of us that will find ourselves here and they've done your proxy marriage, you can get them to go and register it in the law of the land, customary court, and they will give you a certificate as well, to say that on this day you married so, and they register your customary marriage. So marriage under the act is that one is done in accordance with the Marriage Act. There's nothing anybody can do about it. Oh, bless you, Mary Fowler. Bless you, my darling friend. Bless you. Thank you. So the church wedding is the third one, which there's always confusion between the church wedding and the church blessing. There are two, actually. Somebody asked me that recently as well and said, what's the difference between church marriage and a church wedding? Church wedding, is a very important part. That's the one that most of us love, the ceremony. And nowadays, they do the registry, the court marriage in a very good, grand ceremony. But the church one is always grand. Some other religion, I don't know, I think Islamic one as well. And I think I know about those two. They do it grand. But it's the exchange of marital vows before God. And like I was saying earlier on, this will take us to it, because church wedding and marriage blessings, like I said, but church wedding, that's the exchange of vows, exchange of rings, and that's where you have that round ring, and you go and say, and it means endless love, that your marriage does not have an end, so it's a circular ring which has no beginning or end. So it symbolizes that your marriage will last forever. So it's usually followed with a lot of ceremony, meals, and couple of that. That is what we call church wedding. So what do we now mean by a marriage blessing or wedding blessing? This is simply a ceremony where you pray over a couple's marriage. Now, the marriage must have been contracted or conducted somewhere before you do marriage blessing. Now, saying that, years ago, I did conduct a wedding blessing without any wedding taking place. And I'll give an example. This couple are here because of their immigration status. Both of them could not go home, and the wife was pregnant already, as at the time that they came to us and stuff like that. And I realized they are genuine. It's just that they're just stuck in the system. God loves mercy and not justice. So what do? All we did was we got the parental consent, which could be done. It depends on the presiding pastor. We contacted the parents back home from the group. And this family that I'm talking to you about, to the glory of God, they're still married, about 12 years now. They're still married and waxing strong. So, you see, that's how structures, and barriers can really prevent people from living happily. So, but the most important thing is genuinity of that marriage. And we thought this marriage needs to be blessed before this child comes in. It's not as if they give birth to their child without being married, the child is a bastard or whatever. No, any child born, whether you marry or you don't marry, it has the glory and it has the grace of God. God is God that gives children. But it's good to lay a good foundation. It's good to really lay a good foundation before you go into marriages, before you start having children. So like I was saying, this marriage, we conducted it, and we conducted it in a simple ceremony, and a representative, fortunately they both had their family representative there, and we just blessed it. We declare their marriage blessed, and it's been blessed, and whatever God blesses, nobody can curse. But that is exceptional case. But usually a marriage blessing is maybe they've done a traditional marriage yesterday, or they've gone to court, to the registry, and now they are coming to either church or a venue to just sanctify that marriage. Because remember, the scripture is very clear. A man shall leave his father and his mother and take unto himself a wife. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. So the God factor, the G factor, we can't take it from the A. That is the first marriage. I say to people, whether you do it in the courts, which is the marriage under the act, or you do traditional, or the most important thing to me is the blessing, and then the parental consent. Now, the reason why we go to court is just for our own, it's for our own pleasure, it's for our own security. That's the word. It's just for our own security, to ensure that, in case of anything, we're in the world. And Jesus Christ never taught us to break the law. He said, what is written on it? This is Caesar's inscription. Give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. The law of the land that you are in and the world that we are in, for example, I'll talk about UK, marriage under the act, that is what they recognize. You have to show that certificate. And if you look at the law of Moses, Deuteronomy was talking about divorce. And he was saying that if you have to divorce a woman, even the Bible biblically give her a certificate of divorce, because divorcement, according to their words there. And that was what Jesus Christ was referring to when he was saying that Moses told you that you have to give a certificate of divorce, but no. And he was saying that whoever divorces a wife or, caused her to, except for adultery, you've caused her to, except for adultery, you've caused her to sin, and you cannot remarry and stuff like that. So what we're trying to say, and I want to really bring out from that story, is the fact that certificate of marriage is essential. So that marriage under the act is for our security. And if that had been in place, this our life scenario would not happen, because the woman will say and the man will say, listen, I've given you divorce. But nowadays, this plays up so much because people marry under just marry blessing. So we just think, you see, let me tell you something. You cannot rely on the law of man and leave the law of God. Marry blessing, whether it is inside your bathroom, and you call a man of God to sanctify it before God and man, you are married. It doesn't need a ceremony. So we should stop all this shenanigans of saying things like, well, I hear it so much nowadays, and I'm like, God help me. And what you hear is, oh, well, after all, we were only married in the it's only traditional marriage we did now. They're not married. If you are not married, if there's nothing done at all, you're just cohabiting, or you just gave yourself belly, you impregnated yourselves, and then that's just it. You are not married. But even that, you have parental responsibility for those children, which we'll get to in a minute. But for you going to do traditional marriage and they put some dowry on your head, or they pay some things, the family formalities, they come together to say, on this day, we release our daughter to this man. You have fulfilled the law of God. You are married. So now, even if it's at that traditional, I know people that during their traditional marriage is when they do their marriage blessing. So marriage blessing doesn't have to be a big deal. It is the marriage ceremony, the wedding ceremony, which is the church wedding. That's always the big deal. I've seen marriage, traditional marriage that was conducted, and during the pastor of the church, came there. They've already invited the pastor. The pastor came there after they've done the traditional rites and sanctified the marriage. And that was it. That was it. They are still married to the glory of God. These ones that I'm talking about, I think they are married about 11 or 12 years old. As I know, their first child is around, their first child is around 9. So what we're trying to say, that was done in Nigeria and I witnessed it. So what we're trying to say is all these 3 marriages are right. So parental responsibility, I'll just say, because that came up in this story, this life scenario, which I'm going to read one more time, and then I want us to contribute. Parental responsibility, whether you're married or not, when you give birth to a child, you have a parental responsibilities for that child. So please, our baby daddies and baby mommies, my slave mama or baby daddy, please, children must be taken care of. I met a guy about, about 2 years ago, and he was saying something about, oh, he's going to go and take job somewhere because he doesn't want to pay maintenance. I said, that's silly. They are your children, irrespective of what. I know it can be painful sometimes, but you have to be responsible. You have to give, when you give up birth, so think before you father children, or before you get yourself pregnant, or you get your wife pregnant, or because both of you are responsible for that child. You have parental responsibility for that child. So let's now end. Let me read the scenario to us in case we're joining again. And then with this intro or overview that I've given us, you'll be able to say and guide this couple. To be honest with you, the guy is talking rubbish at some point, laying claim to those children. But in some culture, which I'll go to, I think by culture, he has a right to those children. I think it's a culture in Igbo land in Nigeria. Go on about it. So the life scenario briefly is they had their traditional marriage a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, the marriage broke down and both of them moved on. He went into another relationship that didn't work until we have to do deliverance for this man, no? Because the second, bless you, ma, Mommy Clara, God bless you, ma, bless you, ma. So unfortunately, the marriage broke down and both moved on. So he went to another relationship that didn't work. She got engaged to another man and gave birth to twins. Lucky her. So I knew, so maybe they were not compatible, maybe sexually or their gene or anything, or it just didn't happen. So once he was married to this first man, there was no child. The marriage broke down. You know, they had issues. They couldn't work it out. Everybody went in their ways. So now she's now happily, she's now happily living together, not married. You know, she's cohabiting with a man and she's pregnant now. And then she's got twins. The children are like a year or like 10, 11 months old. Now, this guy, however, got wind of the fact that she has children for the new man. So he's insisting that he wants his wife back because he paid dowry on her and that her family have not returned the dowry. And according to their culture, actually, Igbo people, if you pay dowry on me, for example, if I'm an Igbo woman and you pay my dowry to my parents, to be honest with you, I'm still your wife 10 years, 20 years if you don't go and return that dowry. I don't know about the Yoruba culture. Our culture is not as strong on it. Please, if you're online and you know about the Yoruba culture regarding this, you can correct me. I'm not sure, but I know about the Igbo culture. The Igbo is a tribe in Nigeria. They have a strong culture regarding traditional marriage. So if you go anywhere and you've not paid that dowry, you must pay it and then return the dowry back to your parents-in-law before the woman is free. And in this situation now, she has children. They say as long as they've not returned the dowry, anything that comes from her belongs to that man. So this man is saying that he wants his wife back. So how do we go about that? That is the question that we have to talk about. So I'll go, please drop your comments. What's your advice for this couple? People are just quiet. Please, it's interactive. That is why it's called the Wise Builder. I'm not the only wise builder here. We are all wise building. So what are your thoughts about this? What's your opinion? Don't be shy. Just write it out and we'll flag it off for people to see. And if you have a question or if you know someone around that thing or line that you want counseling for, I can just chip in a word or two. It may not necessarily be this, but this happens so much. It happens especially abroad. For some of us that are stuck abroad or here, and then we just think we can throw caution like this. If you're married in a cultural, traditional way, if they pay your dowry, you are a wife. You're a husband of someone. You have to break it. I see that happening several times. We marry and things doesn't work out, so we are not married. You are, and you just say, oh, the only thing between us is children. Then when you probe further and you try to find out, yeah, we only did traditional marriage. So it's very important as well. Traditional marriage is a marriage. And remember, there's no marriage for the joke of it before God. That's one of the things I want us to talk about. So ending a relationship when you're living together. An unmarried couple can separate informally without intervention of the courts. I said that earlier on, but I'm trying to reiterate that fact. So if you're living together, you are not married, you don't need to inform the courts. I remember there was a case of a person that did a proxy marriage as well. So be careful when you're doing proxy marriage as well. Proxy marriage, you may not be able to dissolve it in the court. I remember years ago, it was a case that came to me. This lady did a proxy marriage and then the court's home office, this has to do with immigration, but I'll just take a cue from it. And then the home office refused to acknowledge that's marriage. That's called that's marriage. And then we wanted to go to court to dissolve it. They said there was no marriage. It's a proxy marriage, so they could not dissolve it. So we had issue there. Let me take this question. Mommy Clara James, bless you, ma. Yes, Pastor, you are correct about the Igbo culture. You have to return the dowry if the wife goes back to the parents. Thank you so much. I know about that. I'm happy that you alluded to that fact. Thank you so much, ma. I just wanted to be sure because it's not my culture, but I did a little bit. I'm from Nigeria, but aside from that, I try to find out from one or two people that to say what actually happened. So I think that's what gave the man the right to demand. Because when I first heard it, I started laughing. Like, are you for real? What a joke. So the woman has left here. Because the first question I asked when he was laying claim to the children, I was like, oh, maybe maybe the woman was, let's assume you leave your wife 8 months and you heard she's pregnant. Obviously, you say it's my children. So I thought, oh, maybe he thought he impregnated her and they should go and do DNA. I found out that she's left over 1.5 years. What's the mean? It takes only 9 months now. So it was after that we found out that culturally, Igbos, when you leave until you go and return the dowry, and even let us talk about common sense. Even if we are not Igbo, listen, some people paid your bride price. The essence of culture in Africa, we have culture, and that's why marriage, I say, and I've said it several times, and I want us to understand that marriage is conducted between two families. It's something done with two families. African marriages, it's something that is done within two marriages. So once you marry, and they, you send your emissary or your people there to ask for the list, and they give you the list, you have to pay it back. So you can't just wake up and dust your bum and say, I'm out. Yes, you have your free will, even if it's an abusive marriage or anything. Some of us, unfortunately, have entered abusive marriages. I've dealt in one of my videos, marriages made in hell. That it wasn't your fault. You just find yourself that, okay, this guy is messed up or this lady is messed up. I need to free. God has not called us to condemnation. So now, if you want to move, the most important thing, we always forget that. Remember that you have to go and return. You have to tell, let's assume I'm the woman, except when the either it's spouse, the only thing that frees you is till death do you part. The only thing that frees you from the marital vow, whether it is marriage blessing, customary marriage, court marriage, is when either of the party dies. You are free. You don't need any consent. But common sense, dignity, I will say, when you want to marry, it would be good to just send a note to them or call one or two representatives that I'm moving on, but you don't hold them that. But I just think dignity, in life, you do things because of tomorrow, especially if you have children there, just let them know. But if you don't want to, that's okay. But what we're trying to say is, when this situation happens, make sure, please, most of us leave that. You are before God, you're still somebody else's wife. You have to dissolve a marriage, So the court does not, when you're living together and there's no marriage involved, the court does not have power to make order relating to the care of the children. So if you have children in any marriage, whether it's customary, except if it is Africa and you register, like I said, yes, the court has jurisdiction over it. But if you're just living together, if anything happens, if you want to move on and stuff like that, the court does not have any rights to. They don't have jurisdiction to make any other relating to the care of your children, as in custody rights and all this and that. So please, when we are talking of dissolution of marriage now, you can separate informally, but if you want to end the marriage, you will need, if you're married under the act, we know that, but I'll just retake that. You have to go to court and ask for and petition for divorce. Petition. So don't say if you marry whilst you're married, that's bigamy. You can't have two marriages at the same time. So most of us know that. So I won't waste time. Most of us are, we're in modern world and we're educated. We know that. So when you go to the court, if everybody has to go on their ways, you have to go to court. But try as much as possible, like I always say, work out on your marriage. Try to ensure that you keep your marriage. But in case it breaks down irretrievably, you cannot hold it again. You try to resolve it and everything, and it's still not working out. Ensure your certificate of marriage, divorce. So once you have that, you will need to go to court. You get that, you petition, they give you decree nisi, and then absolute. Once you have your absolute, you are free to be married. And before that, living arrangement, children, inheritance, all those things will be sorted out. So, but if you're living in the same house and you're going through divorce, both of you has a right to live in that house until the end of your divorce, until the end of your divorce, and you have your certificate. So, but for those of us that or those of you out there, let me not use us now, for those that have conducted a traditional marriage, in the case of this man, I think it's with pity that I am going to say this, that unfortunately he cannot lay claim to those children. I know we're in a modern world, you cannot take somebody else's children, but guys and ladies, let us tidy our loose ends. Please tidy your loose ends. In that case, this woman that we are talking about, she's moved on. Young man, regrettably, we're saying that go and sort out yourself. But the lady should have returned the dowry. And if I have to go over everything that I've said, customary law is as important. And somebody asked me this question before I round up, that which of these marriages is the best? Which is right? I've had people asking me that question severally. If you ask me, not because I'm a woman of God. God created them both male and female. The institution of marriage is from the scripture. The manual of marriage is the Bible. If you want to get right, he created them. And so Genesis 2, I think 24, a man shall leave his wife, a man shall leave his father and mother and take unto himself a wife. That is the genesis of marriage. To me, the church of blessing is the best marriage, is the priority. But in the secular world, the registry is the one. It is just because of our security. So as many people that have asked me that, and as you're listening to me, the best form of marriage. I know nowadays, even churches, we try to confuse people to say the registry. Yes, they should say it as a way of security, and that's why we say it. But and that's why you see that if you want to go through doctrine, what should be done is the traditional one, because that's the consent, is the parental consent. The first one, is the parental consent. At it, however you want to see it, both traditional and the marriage blessing, those are the best. So if you want to take it in hierarchy now, it is a traditional marriage, because it is a man will leave his father and mother and take unto himself a woman. It is after that God will join you together. So it is, you can't go to my house and just carry my daughter. You have to seek my consent. At that time, I'll release her with blessing. I'll release it with blessing. Then we'll sit together to say, okay, Joe Block and Esther or whatever, both of you are going, I release you. And that is why, for some of us that we meet ourselves abroad, I know sometimes we'll fall in love. It's better to lay a good foundation because of these little things that comes up. Do things right. Insist that it goes to pay, or she goes to pay your. I know some of you may not be able to go because of status, immigration status, or any conditions, or even some in Africa. But if you are in a place that I don't even see the reason why you will be in a place that it's not as if you're restricted to movement, and then they won't take. You can't just let's stop this. I don't want to. It's wrong for you to just carry your bag one day and then start living with a man. It doesn't even dignity. It doesn't promote dignity. It doesn't give you good. It doesn't work well. Let him or her know that these are things that if he cherishes you, he will do it. If he doesn't do it, he doesn't cherish you. So the first thing is your parental consent. Let them go. Let them make the dowry. Some, nowadays they don't even take anything. I knew a man some years ago, and his daughter was going to marry. He just said to her, "I don't sell my." He said he didn't give them no new. He was my neighbor. He said, "I'm a farmer. There's nothing I lack." To be honest with you, the hectares of land that this man has for farming. So it's the only daughter he has is his first child. And she got married, and the in-laws came and said the dowry. He said to them on the day they came, "I don't want anything. I'm not selling my daughter. All these yam and things that you are giving me, I have them in abundance. So take my daughter." And he releases blessing. Just take care of her. Just take care of her. He releases blessing. It doesn't have to, cultural or traditional marriage doesn't have to call for celebration. It doesn't have to be loud. It can be your papa or mama's sitting room. If your father is late, your uncle will stand, somebody will stand for them, and they will bless you. It doesn't take anything. And some that even ask for a lot of things, people are reasonable nowadays, and and I think that's the reason why our young men are running away. I remember a man, may so rest in peace now. It happened when I was in uni, and he married to somebody that I knew. And during their wedding, they married in Nigeria. The family were very strict. They gave him a long list of things to do. And then he just bought, it's just like they gave him 40 yams, he bought 20. So he was so clever. How we knew that a play trick was, he just did his own thing. So the cousin that's now my own friend, the cousin of that bride, on our own wedding, our own husband was not fussing about, trying to buy everything, ensuring that, let me tell you something. Act in dignity, respect your own family. You're a man, do things right. Do things right. Don't you feel guilty? That's abduction. If you just abduct somebody's daughter and it's in your house and doing the right thing, don't you feel bad? Let conscience prick you. You don't have to be there. Tell your parents to go and do things. Let them take video. Let them take picture. You don't have to be there if you cannot go. So this guy, our whole family were they were very strict, and they were insisting on things being done properly. And what happened was, on the wedding day, this other man that I said is late, now he's been married. I think he married like a year or two before my friend married. So my friend and the lady that married are cousins, so family. So on my friend's wedding, this guy now came there, now saw her husband sweating and doing everything. And he said, "Oh boy, what's the meaning of it?" And I was like, I have to get this. He said, "You are a fool. You should have waited. You shouldn't have taken it to them a day before. That what he did during his own time was, let's assume they gave him 40 tubers of yam to buy. He said he just took 20. He said on that day, they cannot refuse it again. Shame will not allow them to say, so they just took everything." When I saw that, I mean, so life we were still young then. We just came out of union. We laughed over it. But nowadays, I just thought about it. How would you do something like that? What is precious is what paying for. I know most families are reasonable now. Some families are very unreasonable. I've seen that, and they want heaven and earth. They drill, and that's the reason. And if you're hearing this, if you're a family, please remember your daughter is going there. Take care of her. What most people do now, don't chase away your suitors from your daughter, and don't make life difficult because in Africa, for example, when it comes to this dowry, it falls heavily on the groom, because it's the one going to the market to purchase something. It's the one, you're not purchasing a wife, but it's the one that wants to bring a bride to his home. So he normally will get things. So what we should do is make parents, if you're listening to me, don't say during your own time they took 10,000. No wonder the husband make sure you had 6 children and he's using you as a slave. He's making you to work for your money. So because of that, you are now saying anybody that will marry my own daughter times 2. It's no longer on. It's not acceptable. Make life easier for the both of them. Make life easier for your daughter. Make life easier for your son. These are your children. All this tradition, people are running away from it, but it does not exonerate you from doing the right thing. You should not kidnap somebody else's daughter and they put her in the family way and said good riddance. Yeah, excuse me, if you put her in the family way, there's nothing the parents will do, but it bleeds their hearts. Even if they give you blessing, it's not deep from their hearts. Every parent wants to do a right. If I have a girl daughter, even boys, I want the day they are going to their, it's a joy of a parent. Those are the major joy that a parent has over children. You know, graduation, apart from those mini wins, little wins, their graduation, their marriage, then they're, by the time they're having their children, that's what makes it. So if you've invested so much in your daughter or your son, you want to do that. So stop kidnapping people and then just impregnating them and say there's nothing, like that man said, there's nothing they will do once you impregnate, and the other ones will just say just impregnate her. Once you impregnate her, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do, but there's so much God can do. One of the things that we always forget is God is watching us, everything that we do. So institution of marriage is from God. So this man doesn't have any right to that, to those children. But the woman are done wrong. You are still married to somebody. You are still his wife. If we're talking true, and I'll tell you the truth on this platform, you are still somebody else's wife. So it's a criminal offense. It's actually kidnapped you. And a sensible man, when you see a woman like that, and she told you she was in a previous relationship, you should have insisted that she goes to return the dowry. It's a process. They will call the family back, and a member of that family will say, subject to this, especially if you know the reason why you ended the marriage was because maybe he was abusing you. It was a tangible or a good reason, whatever it is. You know, it's not for me to say what and what. You know what you saw that you left. But the most important thing is you must go back to them to say that this marriage has not, they know, but formal, you formalize it. We can't just start with formality and just take off like that. We seem to forget that. And we always say the cultural marriage is not marriage. It is marriage. And I'm saying it with us. Please, let us be very careful how we end marriages. You know, tidy all those loose ends. You've left, maybe you flee from domestic violence, or you did something. Don't just go. Tidy. You have to end a relationship. You can't leave flames. I've seen that happen several times, and it results in a man or a woman having another husband and things like that. Because if you leave it, this woman, if care is not taken, her life is going to be complicated. To be honest with you, our life is going to be complicated. And then one of the things I say is 2 women or 2 men cannot be praying, cannot be raising altars on your name. You have to. So you've already left a crack in this new marriage of yours. Though it's not marriage, yes, it's living together. You're cohabiting with this man. So we don't know the intention whether the man wants to marry you, because if he wants to marry you, he should have tried to pay your dowry, and then they would have said somebody had paid your dowry before. You can't have 2 dowries. One has to be returned. But when we just take off and we just assume we're not married, and like people don't know, after all, I wasn't married and she wasn't married, you are married. So customary law, that's why I gave us definitions of these marriages from the start. Customary marriage is equally as important as any marriage. And marriage blessing too. If I touch base on that, you dare not, if God joins you together, you've called God unto your marriage, and you just say it's not working. There was a good switch to this. When somebody asked me if it's just a marriage blessing, how do we go? And I said that's a tricky one. Do you want to go to church? And if you ask me severally, I would say that's the one that we should make the priority. It's interwoven, and it sounds confusing because that's the only marriage you can break. You can't break a marriage before God. You can, to the cultural traditional one, you can wake up one day when you are in the wrong side of your bed and you just go and return the dowry. The court one, easy peasy, as long as you have your grounds of divorce and then you're able to establish them, easy peasy, within 3 months, if it's straightforward, especially if there's no children, no property, within 3 months you're done. If they're children, if they're properties, it can take a year, it can take 2. I've seen people that have taken 4 years, But you see, church won. So I think we should lay priority on that. And I always say something, let's forget that. Let's not forget that the law of God cannot be broken by any man. Now, if you marry somebody in the church, or if there's church blessing, to dissolve that, you must go and gather everyone that is there on the church blessing and God, and call God to come, the representative of the pastor, to come and dissolve the marriage. And no pastor will do that. Because what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. People have asked me things like, I said to you, you can go and dissolve your thing yourself. I will not be a party to joining a marriage and dissolving it. Because you can't dissolve a marriage that you've done before God. I know people may think, oh, what's she talking about? That's the truth. So I thank God in heaven there's no marriage and everything. But some of you find out that you have, they get to heaven and they'll be telling you you still have three marriages on your neck, 2 marriages. So let's put the importance to this, please. That will guide us to do things right, to persevere, to look at ways of preserving our marriages, to fight for our marriage. Because in situation like this, the woman just made life unbearable for herself. And this, look at this mess. Now she's living. How would you be living? And the man, it shows that the man, and he's an African person. You know, there's some foundational, to be honest with you, there's a lot of foundational problems in that marriage. If there's no marriage anyway, living together. And then you impregnated her, but you knew that she was coming out of a marriage. Even if it's domestic violence, it doesn't give you the right to just impregnate her. You could have insisted, even if you cannot go, you could have insisted on calling the parents, calling your family to go and return the bride price. They should tell them. Some family will not want to take it, but they must take it, because if they don't take it, you are still their wife. And once you return that, now it won't lay claim. So I don't know what she wants to do now. Excuse me, there's a comment. Pastor, what of where the man is dead? Can the woman remarry? Obviously, ma. In fact, that is the best way that frees you from any marital vow according to the scripture. Once a man, until death do you part. Once the man or the woman dies, you don't need anybody's consent. Remember, we are talking about the law of God. So he's gone back or she's gone back to God. You don't need anything. You're free from the vow. You're free from the vow. You're free to marry even next day. That's if you have the liver, you know. But what I'm trying to say is, when your spouse dies, automatically death has broken the vow. The marital vow is broken. Till death do you part. So you don't need to start going to return vow. Dowry. The essence of returning dowries and all this is the fact that you still have a living spouse. You are still his property. Once you got married, they gave you to him, you know, to take care, to nurture, to cherish. And that is why the court, you have to go to court to annul or dissolve that marriage, you know, and that you're free. To the traditional one is the one that we take with levity, and most of us are guilty of, and that's what's causing all this complication. Once you have done a marriage, cultural marriage or traditional marriage, please make sure you go and return. Even if it is just go there, tell the family officially that you don't need to be there physically, to say, please, our daughter is unable to go on with this marriage, and because of that, you know, obviously families will have exchanged words and, you know, try to resolve things, and once they cannot do things, you know, resolve it, then all you have to do is return the vows. You can't return the vow. Return all the goods they've given you, or the list of things that you take it back to their house with dignity. Then the woman is free. Otherwise, because all this brings a lot of foundational and generational problem that we don't know, and we have to make life easy for ourselves. We should not pass on wrong baton to children. So I would say, go for counseling. When I do counseling, I make couple understand that there's no plan B. I'm very thorough with my marriage counseling. People that have gone through me knows that there's no plan B. But, you know, I see a lot of people just do things their own way. No problem. At the end of the day, we have a free will. However we lay our bed, we lie on it. When we do it, and then we pay the price. But it will be good to let him, no matter what, no matter what, no matter how fast, it doesn't take your courtship to be a year, it doesn't make it 6 months, it doesn't make it, if you like, go marry within a month or 1 week or whatever, which is not feasible. What I'm just trying to say is you have to ensure that you go through, even if it is few counseling, make sure you're doing counseling. Sometimes some of us women, we are shy. We don't want to say this. We don't want to look like we're hard on the man. So it's good when you involve accountability pastors or people in your life to say, go and meet my pastor. Let them, and they will say to you, they'll ask you those questions. Have you been married before? Oh, yes. Have you returned the vow? The dowry? Then he assists you. Then the pastor will say, unfortunately, we can't go ahead if the dowry, okay, can we see your marriage certificate? Can we see your dissolution certificate or divorce certificate? We see all those things. And then at the end of the day, you're free. You lay your foundation. No man will come from nowhere to come and lay claim to your children. It doesn't even sound right. It sounds funny. So on that note, I think I'm going to round up tonight. That is just it. If you are in any marriage now and they've done your traditional marriage, and maybe for one reason or the other, not that the man is still married somewhere or the woman is still married somewhere. No, just if for example you're stuck here, you cannot travel or anything, let them do the dowry, but make sure that you can register it. Give yourself some validity. Just give yourself some mouth in this matter. We are not planning for death. I don't want to talk about that. That is massive. It's going to affect you a lot. We're not even planning for that. We are planning for simple things like this. And he gives you that right. He gives you that, oh, we're married. We couldn't go home, and get your pastor or somebody, in a spiritual hierarchy or realm to bless it, to sanctify your home, so that it sanctifies the children and you are living at peace. You remove every foundation, wrong foundation, you set a good foundation for yourself, and by the grace of God, you'll be okay. So that is it tonight on the real way to marry. That is the real way to marry. For those on Instagram, I know you are going off now. The Lord bless you. I'm rounding up on Facebook too. The Lord bless you. The Lord keep you. Make his face to shine upon you. Remain Dolapo Agoradeni to everyone. I'll see you next week, Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Please share the video. It's on YouTube as well. If you go on YouTube, Dolapo Agoradeni, you see all my videos, so you can listen to them, you can share them. I try as much as we, God bless you, Instagram, see you, love you all. So I try as much as possible to bring all this topic. Yours may not necessarily be like the scenario, but as you're listening to me, that you've left some loose ends. Tighten those ends for yourself. Just make life easier. Do the registry, go to court, go to church. But if you don't have money, just do your wedding blessing and let them pay your dowry. Dowry is important. But for people that are not in areas that, obviously, if you are not those of the culture that pays dowry, do your church wedding, do your registry, and it gives you some peace of mind. You're married, your children can really lay claim. It doesn't matter. Children are not bastard. There's no child that's bastard. I always say that every child has father and they have mother. The Lord bless you all. Thank you for your time tonight. The Lord keep us until next week, Wednesday. If you need counseling at any time, my number, anytime, just drop me a text. My number is on the screen. For my matchmaking, I'm making people to contact me now because I realize a lot of people are not serious and I do not have time for time wasters. So if you want to be matchmaked, if you want a spouse, text me or give me a call. Then I'll tell you how it goes, and then we'll take it from there. And you have to pay for my service. Obviously, I don't do free matchmaking again, so that's just a lot of people. Because you know what we want freedom pass. And at the same time, I don't have I wish I could. I don't have the time, and I have to vet you and get involved and all those things. So, which is no longer free. Unfortunately, the peace of the Lord will abide with us. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for everyone online, especially my pastors, my friends, my family. It is well with us. The shield and the blood of the Lamb will avail for us. Until next week, Wednesday, that I come back your way, the Lord will keep you, will keep me, and He will make His face to shine upon us. Shalom to you all. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Hello friends, you're welcome to the Wise Builders and My Godly Spouse online weekly platform. My name is Reverend Dolapo Agoradeni. I'm a pastor, I'm a lawyer, and I'm a relationship coach. Is there anything bothering you? Life comes with some challenges sometimes. If you want to rub minds or you want confidential advice, are you single? Do you want to marry? Do you want me to vet your relationship for you? Don't fall a victim. You know, where children of God are, the children of the other side are as well. So, if you know you want to do things right, or you've made a mistake and you want counseling, sometimes quitting is not the best way forward. You need to fight it out in a very godly way. You need a godly counsel. So speak to me after the show. My numbers are on the platform and how you contact me. Thank you very much. Looking forward to see you. Sit back, enjoy this show. It comes weekly on Wednesdays, and I trust you will not regret your time. God bless you all. Thank you.